On behalf of the Institute for Leadership and Strategic Foresight, welcome to So You Want to Be the Chief, a podcast for leaders.
I love technology. Well, I don't love it. I kind of dig it. But the greatest part about technology is that we can meet people that we've never met physically online and get to know each other and have all kinds of conversations like we're about to do here with Chief Master Sergeant Felipe Perez, who is from California somewhere. Of course, the question that I wanted to pose to you, Chief, is what does make a good chief? Now, I'm hoping that I can get your wife on the show too, because she's an '06.
That is correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And she would tell me the truth.
She would. She absolutely would.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
she would.
I think that would be a great perspective on, I'm sure you salute her no matter what. She could be an airman first class. You would be saluting her anyway.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, good to see you, Chief, and I'm glad to have met you. I've seen you a little bit on Facebook and stuff. I wish I could meet you in person, but maybe eventually we will. So, and you're from the southern part of California.
That is correct. Yeah.
But how long have you been in service?
So this summer will be 29 years.
29. Okay. And if I'm not mistaken, you're going to retire here soon.
I am. Yes, sir.
Okay.
June of next year. Yes.
Okay. Will you be getting chief's pay by then? Would that be 30 years? Okay. All right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, good. Now, what do you do? What's your AFSC or your? I mean, not a. You probably have. If you're like me, I had 5 or 6 AFSCs. I don't remember them. I couldn't keep a job. I did a lot of stuff. So, what do you do basically?
Yeah. So I'm in the what's now the cyber defense operations field. Back when probably you were in, it was the communication and information field, right? 3CO, go back to the other digits prior to the 5-digit one, alphanumeric one, So, but I didn't come in as a comm troop. I actually came in as a weapons troop. Back in '96 when I enlisted. I was a weapons loader, right?
Okay.
I wanted to be around the jets. Came in open maintenance when I went to basic training, and then of course they take all those in those open fields and they put them in the room. They hand them the list of jobs and ammo, armament, age, and a few others were on the list, and I got armament. So
you never got beyond A, huh? On the list. Armament, ammo. Yeah, sure, that one.
That one right there. That looks good.
Did you have any idea what you were doing? What you were going to get into, or ammo?
No, not really. Right. All I knew is that I was going to be around the jet. The official name for that career field was Aircraft Armament Systems, and I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm around an aircraft. Why not? Right?
Yeah. Hey, if it's on the brochure, right, man, that's it. I want that one. I mean, obviously it works. For 29 years you've been doing well, and you did that for a while, and got tired of it?
I did that for 4 years, right? When my last weapons loader job was up in Ellsworth Air Force Base in South Dakota, and then going through the weather there, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know what? I don't think I'm an outdoors guy. Let me go find an indoor job.
Yeah.
In 2000, after my 4th year as a weapons troop, I cross-trained into a Comm, and I went from one extreme to the other. So I went from the outdoors, all open space, to vaults. And so I've been sitting in vaults most of my career.
Yeah. Wow. Well, and as you finish, and I know next year you're probably preparing now for your final speech. Now, I don't know that you know this because you're a young guy, but chiefs don't cry, but sometimes our eyeballs sweat.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. So you may remember that in your speech because we all get emotional.
Yeah. But absolutely.
Has it been worth it?
Absolutely. There hasn't been a moment that I've regretted. I think that's why I've stayed 30 years at that time. Right. I've enjoyed the ride. Every bit of it, every assignment, right? Most of actually the majority of my assignments has been because I've been following the wife around. But with every assignment came a new challenge, a bunch of friends, and of course, personal and professional growth.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Now, and back in my day, Chief, education was a big thing. We really pushed it. In fact, I don't know if you ever met, but Dave Campanelli was a good friend of mine, and he was my bud. And during his tenure, we really pushed CCAF. We almost lost it. I don't know that most youngsters know that, but we almost lost it because we weren't using it. Believe it or not. I mean, it was there, and it wasn't free yet. We, I think, at 25%, but now I think it's 100% tuition. There's no excuse for not using it. But it's so. Did you get your education in there? You came out of high school, right? Is that
I did. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
okay?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Directly out of high school. Actually, for the first 7 years, right? I did not pursue education. I told my wife, it's like, look, I joined the military so I can get a trade and get paid, and that's what I'm doing.
Mm.
But her goal for joining the Air Force was to get an education, and so I watched her go through the process of learning and classroom, and then what really made the decision was watching her graduate after all the hard work that she put into
Yeah.
her education. Watching her walk and get that diploma was enough for me to say, okay, I want that.
Yeah.
Now, unlike my wife, I ran with that, right? I forgot to change my display name there, but I'm a doctoral candidate, right?
Oh, great. Great.
I didn't just stop with the CCAF. I didn't just stop with my undergrad.
Yeah.
I pursued education because I thought it would be best for me and my growth, right? I started off, of course, you get your CCAF. I didn't get just one; I got two. Right? I
Yeah.
got one in my old career field and one in my current career field. And then I pursued my undergrad in computer science. So I was like, okay, I'm working in the comm field. I really would love to know what this is all about and how to best set myself up. And so I pursued an undergrad in computer science. Really dove into that. It really helped me out as an NCO with troubleshooting the systems that they asked us to do, right? The coding, the scripting, and all that stuff there. And then something shifted, right? 2003, my wife and I, we were headed to my fourth base, her third base, and we got involved in ministry. Right? And then I felt the Lord calling me into the ministry. And so I decided to go to seminary. And so I went to seminary,
Right.
got a degree in religion with a concentration in pastoral counseling. And then I just felt that pull of helping people more, right? And I got into the counseling field. My doctorate is a PhD in clinical pastoral counseling. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, so I just that pull to really help people, to speak into people's lives, and of course, as you know, as chiefs, we get that opportunity often,
Right.
right? Airmen come to us with their issues. They come to us with their problems, or we happen upon these airmen in their issues,
Right.
and chiefs have a a, a unique opportunity to kind of connect with airmen and to help them out, to mentor them, to guide them. And so I've been able to use my education
Yeah.
to help airmen out. Yeah.
Well, Chief, we're always looking for the answer. Let me suggest that your answer when someone comes to you now, you can tell them, especially once you get the PhD, because God said so.
Oh
And
man.
here, let me show you. Let me open the book and show
Let me
you.
open the book. Yeah,
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 yeah. Well, that's
yeah.
great, Chief. And you know what? As you say this, and I didn't know that that's your direction. And God bless you, man, because we need more people. But some folks, even who are listening right now, may say, "Oh, wait a minute, we're going to talk about religion." We can, but I'm convinced that and I'm a Christian, but I'm Yaqui. I'm half Indian, and half of my life, probably more now because I think more, I observe more, is spiritual. And I think we don't have to talk religion. but we can always and we should talk spirituality.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
when we go out there, I mean, I can't even imagine. Now, I was at Fairchild, so we may have had the nukes up there or not, but nonetheless, you know, that's scary stuff to be working around bombs and stuff that can explode.
Oh yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, you'll have a spiritual event somewhere along the way, and I think the military, any service that we do is spiritual, you know, and when to me it seems like, especially, and not especially as a chief, anytime some young person comes to for help, a lot of times it's spiritually related, not necessarily religiously related, but it's a spiritual thing that, hey man, I don't know how to deal with this,
Hmm.
and you know, for you, you will have the creds to be able to do it both ways. But you know, I think that's what a chief does, isn't it? I mean, we talk
Yeah.
about spiritual stuff a lot without using spiritual language.
Yeah. So, um, um, it's funny that you say that, right? Because being a Christian in the service, right? Whether Air Force, Army, and one of our other sister services, right? It doesn't necessarily jive, right? But people are always looking to make a connection on something other than what's on our name tape,
Yeah,
right? And while the name tape is a good start, right? Having a connection or an ability to help someone find their what people would call a true north, their foundation, something to keep them grounded. I think it's key, right? And
yeah,
Chiefs in what um what whatever capacity a chief is able to do that. Chiefs have a unique way or a unique opportunity to connect with airmen, right? Getting them to help find their true north, their foundation, their center, right? Whether it's through a spiritual means, right? So there's probably a lot of chiefs out there that confess and profess Christ, right? But there's other chiefs out there that may connect in other areas, right? Some physical mean, right? Some whether it's being outdoors, whether it's a book, whether or whatever it is, right? Chiefs have a unique way of connecting with airmen or an opportunity to connect with airmen. We just have to know who we are first in order to enable in order for us to do that appropriately.
and that's like, I guess, a key, really appropriately, right? Yeah,
Correct.
you have to know, because you know some people get ticked off for anything nowadays. It doesn't matter. You look at someone and they get ticked off at you. But in the business of leading, in the profession of leading, Chief, I think, you know, you're right. We need to be aware of how to connect with people. And you know,
Yes.
and I say this a lot. I don't know that you know, I've written several books, and in a lot of them, I talk about. I say the same, almost exact same thing. It's not about connecting on your terms. It's about connecting on their terms. You know,
Correct.
using their language. You know, because that's why I'm so cool, man. You know, I'm down with that. You see what I'm saying? Groovy, man. That's so groovy. Okay. You got to be from
Yeah.
the '60s to be able to communicate with me.
Exactly.
But although I'll tell you what, man, off a little sidetrack here. As I do write a lot, I read a lot, and I connect with people on social media. We need to go back and teach people to use capitals and punctuation points. You know, it's one long sentence. I've told people I'm going to write a book one day that's one long sentence, just like the youngsters read. Although it may be a bestseller, because then they'll pick it up because it's
They'll
just one long
understand it.
sentence. You know,
Exactly.
yeah. But and again, have you been deployed, Chief?
I have, yes.
Okay, you know, everything comes together when we deploy, doesn't it? You know, because there's a different world then all of a sudden. It's us, and I tell, you were talking about, you were referring to the other services. I tell folks when I'm speaking to a multi-service audience, it's all about us against them. In
Mhm.
fact, our name tapes say that: us Navy, us Marines, us Air
Mhm.
Force, us Guardians, all of us
Yeah.
against them. So we're all in this together. And that's when we, I think, often realize it. When we're out there and it's not always by ourselves. I don't know that it ever is by ourselves, but we're a group together fighting the enemy. Man, all of a sudden we care a lot more.
Yeah.
right? Then we come
Yeah.
back
Absolutely.
to the United States, and it's like we don't even see each other anymore.
Yeah.
So, but in particular, like I say, I think when we're deployed, when we're on a mission, we can speak more spiritually. Again,
Hmm.
not so much religious lingo, but spiritually. It's even. I was just writing my essay for the week, and I was. The topic had to do with the tough conversations. You know, back in the day, and you probably heard it in your family, and you're a Latino family, right? So we probably say, hey, don't talk about politics and religion at the table because your tío doesn't like that, and your primo over there, they're going to go fighting and killing each other. And all. Not that Latinos do that. Well, okay, we do. But anyway, I think the problem is, Chief, and I think where chiefs can come in and do a good job is, I think that's wrong to avoid that. I think there's a respectful way to do it.
Yeah.
You know, and back in the day, you know, we used to say, I don't know how you youngsters do it anymore. We'd get in a room, you know, 5 or 6 chiefs, and we would go to it, man. There
Yeah.
were some words said that you don't want to hear. There's some that we didn't, we made them up, you know, but it
Yeah.
was pretty bad stuff. But when we were done, we opened the door and we were one front,
Yeah.
because it
Yeah.
was the air, and it wasn't the airmen against the chiefs, but it was the chiefs having to do the job that we needed to do. We got it all out of the way, and then we were back on. We're one team, so I
Yeah.
think we need that more. You know, we
Correct.
should be able to have a good political discussion without hating each other.
Yeah, yeah, you had said something, right? Right. You talked about, hey, Chiefs being able to speak those things. You're right. Yeah, I do remember coming up, Airman NCO, right? There were certain topics that we were, wouldn't say prohibited from talking about, but it was those taboo topics, right? People didn't talk about them because of the reactions other would get. And don't get me wrong, we still make mention of those to bring caution and make sure that they feel respected uh, included within these conversations. But I don't think I've ever been in a situation where a topic was not able to be talked about, right?
Yeah.
It just had to be done in certain boundaries, right? Even my faith. I've been able to talk to airmen about my faith when they've allowed me to, right? I've been able to talk to some airmen about politics when they've allowed me to, right? And I've seen airmen and NCOs talk about it as long as they've done it in a place where it's been allowed and people are comfortable and people respect each other's viewpoints, right? I've had conversations with Muslims, open conversations with Muslims about their faith. I've talked about my faith, but there was a mutual respect. There wasn't one where, oh no, you should be this, you should be that. Why are you this? Why? No, none of that. It
Mm.
was a friendly conversation based on curiosity, right?
Right.
It's the tough conversations is when you have a closed mind,
Right.
right?
Right.
When you can only see your point of view and no other view only. That's when conversations become tough. Every other conversation, as long as you go with an open mind and you're not out to win a conversation, is really easy,
Yeah.
right? It's just when you have the motivation of winning a conversation or better term, an argument, right? Then that's when conversations become tough.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And I think it leads to two things, Chief.
Hmm.
Better knowledge, more knowledge, expansive
Hmm.
knowledge. I'm a what I think I can consider myself a serendipitous learner, a serendipitous lifelong learner because I love to
Yeah.
learn. Uh, you know, and that's probably why I write so many books because I hope that someone will read what I've learned and not have to
Yeah.
go out looking for it.
Hmm.
I'm curious about the universe, man. If
Yeah.
you just ponder that, just say that word. What is the universe? Well, that'll freak you out if you think about it. So don't think about it too much, and don't go drinking when you're thinking about it. Uh, uh, but the other thing that I think,
Mhm.
correct me if I'm wrong, and especially there's a couple of generations between you and me, but this is the way I was brought up. That when we do that, when we respect each other and have those conversations, we develop more trust, and that's key in what we do. You got to trust the chief, you got to trust the airman, you got to trust
Yeah.
each other, your boss, and all that stuff, or else we're all going to fail and somebody's going to die. And the trust level, I think, and actually, my perspective is faith is the highest level of trust.
Yes.
But when you have the trust that I can talk to him or her, and it's okay. I can tell them how I really feel, and they're not going to beat me up. They're not going to mess up with my EPR, whatever the rating, of course, they call it. I'll be okay because we trust each other. I think that's a good thing, isn't it?
No, absolutely, absolutely. Chiefs creating a safe space for their airmen, right? I think it's key when a airman feels comfortable walking into their chief's office and having a conversation, one that may be tough for the airman to talk about because maybe a lack of trust in other areas, but they're able to walk into the chief's office and have a candid conversation about something that they're going through because of the trust that was built between that chief and that airman, right? I think that's what you're referring to, right? Is the trust that chiefs can build with their airmen by showing our airmen some respect, by being curious about who they are, right? And not having this divide of, well, my three roofs and you don't have any, so do what I say. I think that's
right.
That was my era growing up.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't see my squadron chief. As a matter of fact, if you asked me who my squadron chief was when I was an airman, I probably wouldn't be able to point them out in a lineup because I never saw who my squadron chief was.
Yeah.
Right? But my airmen nowadays, they know who I am.
Yeah.
They can pick me out. They've ran up in my office. They've brought me their issues, right? All these things. It's because of the trust that has been built.
Yeah. And that trust goes downward too, I think, Chief, because again, I don't know that I taught at the Air Force Academy for 19 plus years, and I still go out there, and so I've got like 25 years altogether working up at the academy, and I love being around them because I am curious about who they are, what they think, how they think. AI freaks me out, man, and they know it's like it's no big deal, Chief. Well, I think it is. I watched what was it, the Space Odyssey, 2002 or whatever that movie was. But so I've seen the end of the movie, and I didn't like it. So, but I'm curious about how they think, and I think it builds trust in me. I trust them more because I understand a little bit more. I don't understand it all. I don't. Sometimes I have no idea what they're talking about. I just nod my head and smile, like I do. But I think, again, that trust is mutual, that I can trust them. They can trust me and I can trust them because we're both curious about this stuff. I don't know that it's so, Chief, and again, you're a couple of generations behind me. I see a lot of young chiefs that are not curious about the old ways. And, we say that, what's that old saying, about the worst thing for an organization to say is this is the way we've always done it. Well, I don't believe that because maybe there's a reason why we've always done it. And if you're new, you don't have to be old. If you're a new person in this organization and you've been doing something a certain way, maybe you should find out why it may be the right way. And if it's the right way, keep doing it. If it's not, well, assess it, measure it, and change it, whatever. But a lot of times we think, well, it's the old way. So what? Maybe it's the right way. Not every way, not every new way is a better way.
Yeah.
But again, as an old chief in particular, as a leader, you can't be afraid to ask those folks, what do you think? That's, I think, one of the most important words a leader asks. What do you think? And accept it. I studied with Stephen Covey a lot, and he always said that not only do we need to acknowledge and accept the differences, we need to celebrate them. I have you were talking about having discussions with Muslims. I had a cadet once that in a conversation, we realized that he was Muslim and I'm Christian. It didn't matter. It didn't matter, man, because we were together, and like I said, if we went to war together to fight the enemy. The enemy was the common enemy. I would give my life to this day. I would give my life for him. And I think he would do the same thing. So, but it is, why do you think that? I think I love that question with my youngsters, 18, 19 years old. Why do you think that? Because I don't, it's not that I don't, I just don't know that I do. I haven't been exposed to the things that you have.
Yeah. It's funny how, that question, why do you think that? Or just the simple word, why? some may take that as, well, now you're just challenging me. Well, no, I'm not challenging you. Why do you think that is? I'm really curious. Why? Or, hey, this, and this. Okay, why? It's not a challenge. It's sometimes a genuine curiosity of, well, why? Why is it like that? Why have we done it like that? Why is, that simple question of why can unfortunately be taken out of context, because maybe someone thinks that, hey, you're challenging me. Oh no, I'm not challenging you. I'm just really curious, right?
Yeah.
Now, if we flip this, right, because our airmen do this to us, why? Right? Well, sometimes I call myself the old chief, because around my airmen I am the old chief, right?
You're a baby, man. You
So around
wait.
my airmen,
You give it
I'm the
about
old
40
chief.
years, brother, and then you'll understand what old is. Trust me.
I'm sure. I am sure. But when you're airman, some haven't even been born yet, and you've already been an NCO, you're like, okay, maybe I am the old chief. Nonetheless,
Yeah, yeah.
but there are moments when I don't want to. I don't feel like I need to give the why, because I need you to do what I've asked you to. And then I'll circle back with the why. And then there are moments when I can give you the why as I'm giving you the order, right? And so we just need to be able to discern that part there,
Mhm.
because maybe time is not on our side. And
Right,
when I tell you to do, I need you to do.
right,
But there are times when I can tell you to do and the why. And
right.
so,
Yeah.
but back to the difficult conversations, the curiosity, right, is um, when we have these differences, asking the why is not a bad thing. Asking the why is not challenging you. Asking the why is so I know what you know, so I can hopefully get your understanding, right? Um, Whether it's racial conversations, religion, politics. Why? Why do you think like that?
Mm.
Because I'm not here to be sold on anything. I'm here to understand you better. Because if
Right.
I understand you better, then I can work with you better, right? And
Yeah,
so, like you said, why do you think that way?
yeah,
Or why would you do that and not this? Why
yeah,
would you say that and not this? Right?
yeah,
I think that question is a very vital question that we all should be having. Why?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember one time, Chief. He's a still great friend of mine. He was a lieutenant colonel, and he used to come in late to work. I'm an old chief. I'm up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I was the first one in to work, and he came in around 10 o'clock or something, and sometimes kind of disheveled, and I thought he was partying until we had a conversation. I was, doing the guy thing, giving him a hard time and all that stuff. Oh, you come in at 10, huh? And blah blah blah. And he said, "Yeah, Chief, my autistic son was up all night." And, well, wait a minute, sir. Your son is autistic? Yeah, yeah. And I don't know if you know much about that, Chief, but uh, people that have that disease, I guess, is a disease. They live in their own world. I mean, literally, they live in their own world. And
Yeah.
but anyway, when I heard that, I thought, oh man, I'm a dumbass for doing this, because I didn't know. I didn't
Yeah.
realize that, really, no kidding. He was suffering through some stuff that was I never have, and I'm blessed by that. But once I learned that, I had a different conversation with him.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he luckily he still he loved me. I still love him, and we understood, but we connected differently because we had a better understanding. And as you know, our airmen, our youngsters, are the people that we lead, are going through things that we never went through.
Mm.
Some of the things that was on movies, and they're living it. And
Yeah.
I've had some opportunities to learn about people when I say, wow, I didn't know that, man. I didn't know that's how you grew up. I didn't know you were homeless. All of
Mm.
that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
then that gives me, as a chief, as a leader, the opportunity to help them. Now that I
Okay.
know, let me help you out, because I've got some resources. And I think the biggest resource for any good chief is knowing people. In the book, and that I sent you a copy of it, it says one of the lessons is you don't know everything. The chief never knows everything, but he or she knows everyone.
Yes.
Because, it may be a smartphone, but the smart person is the chief that can call someone and say, hey, I don't know how to deal with this. Can you help me? And we do. We take care of each other. So.
Yeah, that is absolutely right. Right. I think chiefs are expert networkers, or at least we should be expert networkers, right? It's not what we know. It's who we know at this level, right? Because like you said, we don't know everything. And it's impossible to know everything in every functional community, right? I don't know everything over in the FSS world. I don't know everything over in the medical world. I don't know everything over in the SF world, right? But I know a chief over there, right?
Who does know everything?
Exactly, right? Yeah. I know.
Or an airman, chief, an airman. I've seen that airman, and I know he knows this stuff. Let me call him. Been there, done that.
And there's been many times when I've gone online. Right now, we have Microsoft Teams on our computers, right? And so my boss's captain, right, his exec is having issues, and I say, hey, I know a staff sergeant I can reach out to. Hit him up on Teams. Bing, bang, boom. Problem solved, right?
Yeah.
I don't need to know how to get that done. I need to know the person who can get it,
right?
Who can get that done. So yeah, so chiefs need to be expert at networking up and down the chain, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, airmen, NCOs, fellow chiefs, officers, right?
Yeah.
We should be connectors. We should be people who bring people and processes together. We don't have to be the know-it-all. Right. The alphabet at the end of my name doesn't mean that I know everything. I know a lot of stuff, but I don't know everything.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. But I know people that I can call and say, hey, I'm my airman or my captain or I have this issue.
Right.
How do I get it fixed? Yeah.
Yep. That's what it takes. Thank you for your service. Thank you for being on the show. And as you finish out your Air Force career, do you know, are you going to go into the ministry afterward?
I am, yes. Yeah. So prior to this, right, I was meeting with my clients, right? Right now, I do pastoral counseling, all right? Focusing on marriages, whether premarital, marital, or marriages in distress, right? And so I do marital counseling and have been doing that since 2013. So I've been doing it a while.
Yeah. And the answer is simple, man. Smile and nod. That's all it takes. And be humble. She will always be right. You will always be wrong. I get up in the morning, first thing, chief. My wife comes downstairs from the bedroom and I say, I'm sorry, baby. And she says, for what? I don't know, but I'm going to screw up something. So get it out the way.
Get it out the way.
Well, thank you so much, brother. Take care of yourself. And I hope that we can meet up in person someday. And
absolutely.
God bless you.
All right, sir. You have a good one.